Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
Hey!
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Cannot remain a force for peace in the world if we are not at peace with each other.
Believe me, we have plenty of anarchists. They don't want to talk about the anarchists.
A wound inflicted upon a single member of our community
They've got clubs and they've got everything. Antifa!
is a wound inflicted upon us all. It is time to heal the wounds that divide us.
It's a very dishonest media, those people right up there.
A new unity based on the common values that unite us.
And I really think they don't like our country. I really believe that.
When one part of America hurts, we all hurt.
These are sick people.
And when one citizen suffers an injustice, we all suffer together.
I went to better schools than they did. I was a better student than they were.
We are one people with one home and one great flag.
I'm with everything. I got the white supremacists, the neo-Nazi, I got them all in there.
We have no division too deep for us to heal.
Yeah, KKK, we have KKK. I got them all.
There is no challenge too great for us to conquer.
The only people giving a platform to these hate groups is the media itself.
So he's got this Sybil routine down. He's got it down, baby. I heard excuse after excuse after excuse. Did you watch any TV last night? I mean, I didn't watch a whole lot because we went out to dinner. I'm dog sitting for my friends, for Karen and Steve's dog, Murphy. We're dog sitting for their big slobbering dog. He's a big-ass dog. Sweet. Oh, sweet. So sweet, but, big-ass dog. And likes to sleep in the bed. And, Alan and him are having it out in the middle of the night. So I'm tired and didn't watch much TV last night. Didn't watch much news at all. But I did see that the the excuses for Trump are coming from talk radio, Fox and Friends, all these people. They're like accusing everybody who thinks that Trump sucks, that thinks that Trump is Sybil, that thinks that Trump is like, schizophrenic, that he's Jekyll and Hyde, that he's got, and that no matter which personality shows up, no matter which one, that none of them are real. Okay, none of them. That it's because we don't have a sense of humor. I did catch that. I saw that. And also that Colin Kaepernick needs to be scorned. Yeah, according to Fox and Friends, Colin Kaepernick needs to be blackballed and scorned and ostracized and shunned and shamed and all that. But neo-Nazis, they love a statue. What are you going to do? I mean, really. This is what's going on here in the country. But I got to say that this Sybil routine that this president seems to have down and wants to sell you is not really playing very well. The polling looks pretty damn creepy because even the angry, accusatory, fourth grade Trump, the one that shows up at the campaign rallies. And of course they say, well, don't you understand these are campaign rallies? The man has nary been president for 7 months, okay? We're not even into a year of his presidency yet, okay? Not even, just a tad past the 6-month point is where we are. He's accomplished zero for the American people, let alone the forgotten man. Translation, white guys who mined coal like 40 years ago. He's done nothing for anybody. He hasn't created one single solitary piece of legislation, hasn't, immersed himself in any policy from health care to the budget, to the tax plan, nothing, right? He has done nothing. He's the laziest mother I've ever seen in the Oval Office. And, I can only go by modern history, But what's really crazy is nobody believes it. The media is doing better in polling than Trump is. Swear to God. And, people, there's two things about, there's two other places that people have scorn for. It's the media and Congress. They have very low approval ratings. And Trump is racing them all to the bottom and beating them. This is the one thing he should celebrate, that he's winning. This is where his win is. His win is in his race to the bottom. He got there first. It's amazing. Check this out. President Donald Trump is doing more to divide the country than unite it. 62% of voters say that's true. Doing more to divide than unite. 31% say he's doing more to unite. That's because they're seeing their groups unite. The neo-Nazis are now getting along with the Vanguard group, and the Vanguards are now getting along with the Stormfronters. The Stormfronters are now getting along with the peppy people. I mean, they're all niche. They're very niche. Oh, speaking of them, well, let me go through the polls first, and then I'll tell you something. Okay, so his President Trump gets negative 35% overall job approval rating, down from 39%. So he's gone from 39% approval to 35% approval. That's a drop of 4 points since August the 17th. Today is the 24th. That's 1 week. I guess that was the high point. I guess August 17th was the nadir, right? Was the high point of the Trump presidency, and we missed it. He missed it. Damn it. Should have been out there celebrating. Yeah, so now he's down to 35%. And the numbers cross every party. Every gender. Every level of education. Every age and racial group. They all disapprove except for Republicans, but only if you separate them out into white voters with no college. I mean, you really got to get niche here to find it, right? White voters with no college approve of Donald Trump 77%, but that's also down. He was up to, when he started, it was like 90% of Republicans, white, college educated, no college educated. They loved him. Down to 77%. Let's see. White men who approve, 50%. 46% of white men, Republicans, disapprove. American voters disapprove 60% to 32% of Trump's response to the events in Charlottesville. And that's not all. Voters disapprove 63 to 31%, including 56 to 38% among white voters, of the way Trump is approaching race relations in this country. Whoops, 63% disapprove. 56% among white people disapprove. Wow. The question was, do you think the president cares about issues facing minority groups? Only 37% said he does. 60% said no. No, he doesn't, including 52% of white voters who say he does not care about issues facing minority groups. He even managed to make the media credible. Okay, this is what I'm telling you. Wait, Congress is going to start surpassing him too. Congress is really low, but media. American voters disapprove 55 to 40% of the way the news media covers Trump. But they disapprove, 62% of Americans disapprove of the way the president talks about the media. So you see what I say? People are not thrilled with the way the media is covering the Donald, but 62% expect more from their president when it comes to the way he talks about the media. Oh, that's not good. It is a race to the bottom, people. Voters now trust, this is what this is, in summary, voters now trust the media more than Donald Trump. 54% of all voters in this country trust the media more than Donald Trump to tell the truth about important issues. Whoops. And we haven't even gotten to the meat of the matter, like honesty, good leadership skills, being level-headed. 68% of Americans, including a third of Republicans, say he is not honest. He is not a good leader, and he is not level-headed. Okay? 54% of that group, of that 68% who believe he's dishonest, he's a lousy leader, and he's crazy, he's just off the hook, right? Of those people, 54% of those strongly disapprove of the statement that he's honest, or that he provides good leadership, or that he's level-headed. 54% strongly think that that is untrue about him. That is double the number of his fans. See, he doesn't look at us as constituents or people he represents on the global stage. He thinks of us as fans, right? 27% of his fans approve of him. But maybe the most humiliating thing for Trump is that voters by a 49, that's almost a majority, 49 to 40, 49 to 40 say we would have been better off with Hillary Clinton. Just saying. Poor Hillary. And yesterday they were playing excerpts from her new book. Did you catch that at all? So there's this one excerpt that is noteworthy, or at least the publisher thinks it is, and this is why they put it out there. Okay, so they they're very good at media. These publishers are, because publishing a book no longer has to do with whether the book is enjoyable for you. It has to do with how many Twitter followers the book author has, and of course Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State, former First Lady, former Senator from New York. She's got a lot of people who will buy her book. Therefore, we publish her book. But if you write a fabulous story about a young girl who grew up in Brooklyn with crazy parents and just impossible odds against her, and does everything to try and right herself, from joining the military to driving an over-the-road truck to, going into radio and playing country music when she didn't know who these artists were, and then she suddenly finds herself, a household name in certain households, then they don't want that book. But it's fabulous. Great beach read, my book. Okay, but they're going to publish Hillary's. Okay, so this is the part of Hillary's book that has to do with what she was thinking when she was on the debate stage with Donald Trump, who was stalking her like a freaking lunatic. Okay, and her reaction to it, and why she's sorry that she didn't do it different.
This is not okay, I thought. It was the second presidential debate, and Donald Trump was looming behind me. 2 days before, the world heard him brag about groping women.
2 days.
Now we were on a small stage, and no matter where I walked, he followed me closely, staring at me, making faces. It was incredibly uncomfortable. He was literally breathing down my neck. My skin crawled.
I know that feeling.
It was one of those moments where you wish you could hit pause and ask everyone watching, well, what would you do?
I'm going to play the rest of it. There's like 30 more seconds to it. But, why didn't she just turn around and look at him strangely? She didn't even have to say anything. All she had to do was, look at him. Like, what the? Now, here's the thing. I'm going to play the rest of it. But this actually occurred once before with her. She was running against, Rick Lazio for the Senate. And Rick Lazio did this to her. I don't know why guys do this, but they do it. Rick Lazio walked into her space, just crossed the stage and got right in her personal space. And everybody knows what that is. You can feel when somebody is invading your 2 inches of safety that you put beyond your nose, right? And Rick Lazio did do that and got right into her space. And she shot him a look like, what the, And this time she didn't do anything. And it also happened too with Al Gore. Al Gore did it to George W. Bush. Do you remember that? Right. Al Gore walked into George W. Bush's space. He just kept encroaching on W, and he just finally got close enough. And W just looked at him like, hey, in that stupid, W, wonderstruck way that he had. So this is her saying, you just wanted to press pause. Well, why didn't you?
Do you stay calm, keep smiling, and carry on as if he weren't repeatedly invading your space?
No.
Or do you turn,
Yes.
look him in the eye, and say loudly and clearly, back up, you creep. Get
Wow.
away from me. I know you love to intimidate women, but you can't intimidate me, so back up. I chose option A. I kept my cool. aided by a lifetime of dealing with difficult men trying to throw me off. I did, however, grip the microphone extra hard. I wonder, though, whether I should have chosen option B. It certainly would have been better TV.
Yeah.
Maybe I have overlearned the lesson of staying calm, biting my tongue, digging my fingernails into a clenched fist, smiling all the while, determined to present a composed face to the world.
Okay, see, this is where she goes off the rails again. This is why people don't adore the Hillary. Because she makes it a man thing, okay? Yes, he's a creep. He's a lech. He's a grabber. He's a harasser. He's a person who encroaches. He's a person who actually touches without invitation. No doubt about it. And yes, that video had come out 2 days before. But I have been intimidated by women in that same way. I mean, even in a bathroom situation where, they'll stab your eye out with the mascara wand if you don't make room for them at the mirror. Do you know what I mean? So she doesn't have to make this about the men and the women and the and all that and back off, you creep. She should have just stopped and said, back up, give me some space here. I'm talking. You know what I mean? Why in her mind did it? So, but 49% said we'd be better off with her. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.